writing
Can we have an usher in here, please?
While writing your questions, please write the name of the speaker you're doing the questions to. Thank you.
But if you are brave enough to ask your question, just raise your hand up. Okay, so hold on. Excuse me, usher.
You say your name and you ask your questions.
If you have your questions, please raise up your hand so they can take it from you.
Thank you.
My name is Adrian Gabriel. I'm directing the question to Mr. Sam Nike Clarko. Last year, I was opportuned to go with my boss to the, and then I went for a business right there. I observed something. Really, most service corpers, they do complain about financial aspect. And then, in my own view, really, I've been into business for several years. And then, let me say, this money they do give them at the end of the month is like nothing in my own view. Based on, based on some aspect of responsibilities. So I want to ask you, for a graduate that has something he was doing before he graduated, and then he knows his income, can you advise him just to leave his work and then go for service? Earning such an amount, and then he has something at home, and then if he can leave out of that state, the business is gone already. Can you advise him just to leave what he's doing and go for service?
Thank you very much. The first thing is that I'm not in the power to decide whether they will give them a raise or not. My own is just to go to do help them in the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development, and then I get paid and I leave. But then the one the second one is that will I advise someone to go and do the program for 1 year when he has something or she has something very important doing? That's why there's provision for exemption and all that. For me, interestingly, by the time I was graduating, I was eating 30, so I didn't need it. I couldn't have gone for it, so I did not serve. So I went for that exemption because I was already clocking 30 and I was already doing very well. I was already consulting, doing some businesses, and I was making my money. So if the person wants to follow what I did, I think it's fine. The other way to it is that some of them, which I would not advise actually, some will go for it and will say that I'm going to be giving the LGI a cut out of my salary so that you can allow me to be absent doing, my own business. Then it is on record that you're actually serving. That, for me, it's not a good one to do, but a lot of people opt out for that. So I will advise that if the person can get the exemption letter, there's another one, I can't remember the name they call it, a letter of something. So the person can do that, and then you don't want to serve. The only thing is that you just want people to serve the nation. And for me, I think about it. Why would someone go and spend a whole year stuck somewhere, and you can actually be affecting life somewhere else? So it's not worth it. If you think you are in that shoe, the best thing is to get the letter and exempt yourself from NYSC. Like I said, I didn't do it. My pastor also said he didn't do that. When he was going for service, in fact, the parent was on his neck to go and do it. But he knew that he had already started something, and it's really, really paying off. It's really blessing lives. So he told the parent and said to them, sorry, ma, sorry, sir, I'm not going for NYSC. And they fought with him. And he said to them, let's reach a compromise. He said to them, please, if in 1 year, if I did not do well, then I will go back. You can always go back for service. You can defy it. So by the time the people that went for service 1 year, by the time he was done, in that 1 year also, not going for service. He already had a car, he was already married, and he was doing well. People that came for service came and they met him doing well already. So it has paid up for him. So if you are somebody who knows what you are doing actually, you must be able to produce results for us to know that you didn't go for service yet. You are doing something wonderful.
All right. This question is for Mr. Shaya Dituberu. As an expert and a psychotherapist, why do you think people feel comfortable taking codeine? And since there was not much time on the, when you say, well, I want you to elaborate on the positive coping strategy, because as we know, withdrawal is always a struggle.
Okay, first of all, the reason why, like I said before, it's the first time you take a substance is because you want to self-medicate for something. But people now start enjoying it because most of these chemical substances, they stimulate the pleasure centers of the brain. It gives you this form of satisfaction. So when you have when you're going through a particular kind of problem and you take this substance, it's like heaven. You escape from what you're going through and it becomes an habit. So anytime you face a problem, you want to escape. As human beings, it's a very cowardice thing to do. Most times you are meant to face your problem and resolve it. It's longer and harder, but more long-lasting. But we decide to substitute that negative emotion and that distress for something that, stimulates pleasure. So people get hooked on codeine because it stimulates the pleasure center. Then after some time, when you start enjoying it, it becomes an habit. Your body starts depending on it to even survive or function. That's why we call it, they were asking withdrawal symptoms. For example, opium's withdrawal symptoms are, some of them are tremor, insomnia, all those things. You won't be able to sleep if you don't take codeine. Your hand will be shaking after you abstain from codeine for a while. So those things now, it has become from self-medication to something your body needs to survive. So an addiction. So if you now want to get yourself out of it, what you have to do is you have to seek, if it becomes a neurological problem, you have to seek professional assistance. It's not something you can do on your own alone. It's possible. As a scientist, I'm not absolute. It's possible, but you have to still seek professional assistance to help you to resolve that kind of thing.
Thank you very much. This question is for Mrs. Dorothy Osai. There are quite a few, but I'm just going to sum the questions up. So it's about the security issue during elections. How do you cope with violence? How do you cope with intimidation for voters and for those who want to join political parties? How do you deal with the evil mindset in quotes?
Thank you very much, because it's a very valid question. A lot of people, regardless of how much talk we say on the subject, will always abstain from elections because of the issue of violence. How can you have worked so hard and you have a family and everything is going to be wiped away in the twinkle of an eye because one thug, throws a random bullet in the air? Who wants that? So it's something we have to deal with. Now, there are two things. I can always tell whether forthcoming elections are going to be violent or are going to be swayed by stomach infrastructure based on how the, current administration handles its 4 years in office. If we go in and deal with the root causes of violence, of, stomach infrastructure, which is poverty, unemployment, and all of these, terrible conditions that leave people's choices. People are vulnerable to any inducement or any kind of, threat. Then if we don't deal with these things, electoral violence will continue to be, the twin sister and twin brother elections that we conduct. However, you see, these people in the political class are very savvy. And this is a deliberate tool that they employ to rig the system constantly and perennially in their favor. If I ensure that people are impoverished, then I will always have a pool of foot soldiers who will wreck elections and make the space unpalatable for the elite, for the intellectuals, for the educated ones like you. I will always make that a threat, a hanging threat in the atmosphere that will prevent you from coming out of your houses. You see, you have to be very vigilant. And it doesn't start on the day of the election. It starts well before. Pressure groups. You must persist in terms of pressuring every state has a commissioner of police. You have DPOs in different stations. You have to request for battalions to be sent to your polling units. You have to send letters. You have to send emissaries to the commissioners of police. Go in groups. One, if you stand alone, your voice is not counted. You cannot affect the trend of things. But when you go in groups, imagine if WOCOM coalesces with all the different youth wings of various churches in Oyo State, and you say, look, there are so and so number of polling units and stations in Oluyole local government, or Ibadan Northwest and Ibadan Southeast. We need certain number, and according to INEC register, there are over 2,000 registered voters who are accredited. For elections to be smooth, credible, peaceful on that day, we need a minimum of, you give them the list of police officers that must be deployed to your station. And where they fail to deploy, you make it very intolerable for them. You see, communities keep police officers on their toes through different strategies. They surround police stations when police refuse to act in tandem with their mandate. They even go as far as to beat police officers. I'm not inciting anybody to do that. But I'm telling you that when it costs us something and when the shoe pinches us, we know what to do to get police to give us maximum security. You can't wait and act helpless. There are things that are within your power to insist on in terms of security. Secondly, political parties have to be very, very practical. Now, one of the things we found when they are doing elections is like you would think you've not been to school at all. The world of politics is completely different. You see, you are looking at that color behind is blue and is red. In politics, it is green and it is yellow. And there's nobody that can contradict it. It's a world that is abnormal, where reasoning does not operate by normal parameters that you know. It operates on the premise of fallacies. People just act for selfish and prebendal interests. People want for me, for me, for me, and they will do, and there's a whole political economy around this thing. And because people have invested their entire life savings on these things, it is a do or die affair for many of them. So one of these you also have to be vigilant and put the focal or the sort of attention on is how much money people are investing in their campaigns. What are the sources of the money? Because if people have taken loans and have sold all their family's property and all their collateral is down to even their kidneys and their lungs, then they are going in there to win at all costs. INEC has to live up to the Electoral Act by preventing people from exceeding the campaign limit in terms of spending. And if you are in any political party, you have to be watchful. One of the things we do in COA, when other parties are beginning to throw senseless amounts of money around, we make noise. The media has to be our friend. And now social media is such a powerful tool. We've seen as young people the drama that is evolving between Hush Puppy and Deji Adeyonju. We've seen how accolades gained, so much sway. Social media is powerful. If these big brother people were, if INEC, the problem is we always sermonize, we condemn. We need to use these trends. If some of these people will go and pick those housemates and say, become ambassadors for PVC. If Toby says, I just got my PVC, make una go get your own, everybody will go and get PVC. If Toby says, I beg, make una no fight for this election place, we go watch una. Or if people use social media and YouTube and do short videos and say, anybody that tries this thing, we go look your papa face. These are tools that are available to us. But you sit down and you say you are helpless. We have weapons that we are yet to wield. And these people, they will be there ready to, they are invested in this thing to the death. How much investment and sacrifice are you willing to make? Not necessarily for Nigeria now, for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience that wants to ask a question? All right. Your name and the person you want to direct the question to.
All right, my name is Latif Afolahon, and I'm really, really glad to be here. Thank you very much to all our speakers. Peace, Sam, thank you very much. You've always been a father and a mentor. Thank you so much. Mr. Shea, God bless you. Thank you so much. My question is directed to you. I'm more political oriented. I'm crazy about what happens in the political sphere in my nation. Like you said, this is our nation. We cannot exchange it for any other nation. United States is United States. That's it. I can't effect any change there, but I can do something here. But what do you do about a situation whereby you're talking to learned colleagues, friends that you know they have something upstairs, and they're still telling you, this nation is gone, is dead. I still believe in Nigeria. I believe in that project. Nigeria is still going to be great. I believe in that. Now, I put together a conference some time ago. I had to postpone that conference because the set of people I was planning the conference with don't have the kind of passion that I had for that conference then. Ma, what do we do in a situation where you know youths like you are not ready to face the fire like you are? If the man, my president, was my president in the 80s and is still my president now, when am I going to be president of Nigeria? I mean, no, let's face the fact. We cannot serve them in the 80s and still serve them in the new millennium. It's not going to be right. What am I going to tell my children? I can't leave this nation like this for my children. It has to be better. Thank you.
Someone is angry in the spirit. Please, can you just note the question down, just in case? Any more questions from the audience? All right. Okay. Yes, sir.
My name is Ayotunde Ayodun. My question is for Koko Anda. Well, how do we get the youths, us, the youths, to get a proper understanding that to occupy political posts is a process that must be followed? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kikelomo Idowu. I want to ask a question. I'm directing my question to Mr. Sam. I'm so much excited when I hear people trying to encourage youths to get better. I like the fact that you started from the point of identification, that most of our youths, they don't even know who they are. Then you got to a point of the mentorship. Because I'm a product of mentorship. I have so many mentors, far and near. You know, you have some mentors, they don't even know you, but you know them. But in this present situation of our youths these days, so many youths have big dreams. They have things they can do. They are loaded. But when it comes to choosing a mentor, it is always a problem. And most times when you even choose mentors, you don't get them for free. And so many youths cannot even pay. So what do we do about this? Must we suffer through our nose to get mentors? Or how do we go about it? Thank you.
Who else?
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, my name is Ogundari Olufemi. I want to ask Mr. Sam this question. I discover something in people, that people are not ready to support your vision and your ideas, but they like to support your project. They want you to start something before they support you. And this is my question, because I've been to so many seminars, and the problem that we youth are facing is financial aspect. Then what can be the solution to we youth that we are financially handicapped to start and to set up a business? Thank you.
Sorry, maybe I should use this opportunity to ask this question. My name is Sunday. I can't say this is a question or comment. Something happened this week on IG issue that it made some comments. Maybe some people said the comments was maybe they work on it, or I don't know. But why did we youth love to broadcast and spread bad news and leave something's happening in a couple of last months. I saw it on social media, the railway project from Lagos to Ibadan, the double railway. I shared it, I made comment about it. That was a fantastic project. I did not see it going viral on social media. But when the IG made a mistake, I saw it as a mistake. But in a couple of minutes, it's all over the internet. Why do we feel comfortable spread bad news and leave the good news that can help our future? Thank you.
I'm sorry. The feedback forms that have been passed around, you don't need to write your name for security purposes. All right? Okay, so. All right, for those who are not Wocomites that are filling the forms, please just write your names and just send it back. Thanks.
All right, my name is Ugo P. Onomon, and I'd like to direct my question to Mrs. Osai. I'm actually making this comment out of compulsion, so to speak, because I'm somebody who is passionate about Nigeria. Whether I like it or not, I don't know where to classify myself, but I know if I'm still a youth, gradually I'm actually living that particular realm. By the virtue of age, of course, we don't actually remain constant. But the fact of it is that when you begin to interrogate the trajectory of Nigeria historical development, when you begin to reason what is happening, just like somebody said, they say, well, we are leader of tomorrow, but yet people like Obasanjo, Buhari, and the last of them, they'll be in power. Now, the fact of it is that when you actually engage every intellectual, any political activist or analyst, just like the people we have here, you actually say almost similar things about PVC, engaging yourself, come out, be bold, be passionate, and what have you. But I think there is a missing link in research that we call there is a gap. And that gap, I must say, is that we have to realize that there is a cause. There is this political class. They are actually family. That's why people actually argue about Buhari passionately. They are all in the same family. They will hug themselves, in Abuja and what have you. It's only, just like I was whispering to my colleague, I was like, it's only in Nigeria that somebody in the level of Osibajo, who became a professor at the age of 30, who was Attorney General, who was an expert working with the UN, who is a super intellectual expert, a super intellectual par excellence, that will become a vice president to somebody like Buhari. Do you understand? I say it's only in Nigeria that can have, let me withdraw that. But it's only a few places like Nigeria. So I'm trying to make a point. And the point I'm trying to make is that in Nigeria, we actually live these things without really looking at it objectively. And what do I mean by objectively? How do we really conquer this political class? Because, for example, if we do all these things and without, minding the fact that the president is too powerful. When you look at Nigeria Constitution, the president is too powerful, and he has actually positioned a lot of people who can actually make sure that he extends his government. So I am simply saying that if we could really find a way, how can really, make sure that this political class, their power is sort of diffused or sort of reduced. Because if not so, they'll keep on dictating the tune. Because somebody like Goodluck, if not that, probably God, moved on him and would have actually been in another situation.
All right, so.
All right, ma'am, let me respond to the first one. It's about mentorship and all that. I didn't really get if you said you are also into helping youth, to discover their purpose. A lot of youths, like you said, they have big dreams, and we cannot question them for that, because what we see is so powerful that we want to exercise exactly what we see in pictures. But what I will say is this. It is true that people don't really get to see mentors like that, but we cannot write out the fact that we still need mentors to show us the way, to tell us, don't go this way, I have tried it, it didn't work. Like I said, the shortest cut to becoming whatever you want to become is to find someone who is already doing what exactly you want to become. But then, when someone is saying, P-Sam, I want you to mentor me, I want you to do this, I try to let them understand, get how I think. Not that you should always come around to my house or always ride with me or always want people to see you around me. You get what I'm saying? That's what many young people want to do. They always want to stay around the person who is their mentor so that people can see that they are hanging around with the person. No, get the way the man is thinking. That's what I mean. Get his book. Now you want me to mentor me? You want me to mentor you? You have not read my book. You have not bought my material. And you think I will have time for you. I have 2 children. I have 1 adopted, making 3. I need time for them also. So that's why now we are moving to what we call life coaching now. Now, life coaching now is more professional. That, okay, if you really want me to coach you, I will stay with you till you become what you want to become. And I can't do that for free in my space as a professional. But if you're a member of my church, I will do that for you. But you may not get me the time you want to get me. You get, maybe after Sunday service, I can have some little time with you. That's different. But you now want to be, you want me to coach you to become that expert you want to become. I didn't get it like that. I also paid something. So you have to look for the price to pay to get the price. The P-R-I-Z-E to get the price. P-R-I-C-E. So that's very important. So we move to what we call life coaching now. Sometimes some people just send me a WhatsApp text. Some people even go on Facebook and send me Facebook Messenger. Hi, P. Sam, I want you to mentor me. See, I can imagine the way they are thinking. You see, when they send some things in the middle of the night and say, I should stop what I'm doing and start talking to you in the middle of the night. No, if you want to get this straight, some of them like that, I'll tell them the first thing is this. Get this, get this. I posted this on so place online. Go and read it. You will not read it. You will not read my book. You will not buy my material, and you want to have my time. I don't want you around me to mentor you. I don't need you to be around me before I can mentor you. All I need you to do is to get my thinking pattern. My mentor, Reverend Albafemi Oduwole, is not in the country as I speak, but I get his thinking pattern time after time. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think that's what works. If you want someone to mentor you, be ready to serve the person. And don't look for what the person wants to give you in his hand. Look for what the person has in his head. So I think, and then you can do, someone can be mentoring you online and then without even meeting the person. John C. Maxwell, some people don't believe in the fact that someone is very far and you say it's your mentor. No, read his books. You will get the way he's thinking. Watch his messages, some of his products. You will get the way he does things. You get what I'm trying to say? So you don't have to get that close before you can get mentored. That's my point of view. Then the second question is about the fact that you have idea as a youth, as a young person, but people don't want to give you anything except they see that you have started something. That's very true and absolutely true. I don't want to believe in your ideas because you are just saying it with your mouth. I want to see what you can do. And like I said in my presentation, your idea must be so powerful that when someone hears it, the person will slap himself and say, why haven't I thought of this before? That's a powerful idea that someone can say, I want to really invest in. So young people now, they say that I want to do business and I don't have capital. No, stop looking for that capital. I did a series on capital and I was able to bring out the things you need before you get the capital. And it is capital. C-A-P-I-T-A-L. The C in the capital is character and competence. You need that one first. Nobody wants to give you money if they didn't see your character and competence. Number 2 is the letter A. You need attitude, positive attitude towards what you say you want to do. People must see that you're actually having positive attitude towards that thing. And the next one is letter P, promise of delivery. Some of you will say, I want to do this, and you will not deliver as you are promised you will deliver. In the small things, they say you should do a table, and then you realize that when you put the table on the ground, one leg is not balanced. You get, so the table is doing like this, doing like this. So you don't have promise of delivery. So nobody wants to give you money for that. The next one is I. It has to do with intentionality. The intention you have, are you following it doggedly? Can people see through you that you are really, really interested in what you say you want to do? And the next one is T, team of friends. You need to have a team of friends that, like I said, sometimes I want to do something, I just need to call 4, 5, 6 friends, and they will get me what I want to do. My pastor will say that don't raise funds, raise friends. I have been somewhere, I was somewhere in the north sometimes, and I needed to make some payment. All I needed to do is to call friends. You need to have some team of friends around you that can first start with you. That can say, okay, I am working in the bank. I can invest 50,000. I can do this. But you don't have good attitude. You don't have good character. You are disrespectful. How can you have team of friends that will help you? Someone said you will be the same person between now and the next 5 years except for 2 things. The books you read and the people around you. So start from being a nice person. Your uncle somewhere see that you are nice. He can give you money. Your brother sees somewhere that you are nice, he can give you money. You have a friend that can give you money and all of that. What's the next one in the word capital? In the word capital? A is accountability. Be accountable. Have someone you are reporting to at least. Tell them stage by stages what exactly you are doing. And the last one, when I did the teaching, is about looking up to God. You see, men will promise you and fail and explain to you explicitly the reason why they failed. The main capital you need to get, that's the main capital you need to get before you get capital. So it's very important for you to start doing something, make a move, let people see that. I was able to.
Wow, so I have 4 questions here, and I'll try to take them very quickly. The first one is about the frustration of, people saying Nigeria is a dead project and not getting the buy-in of the elite class or the intellectuals, as you put it. So how do you convince them to join the fight? I think for me, I try to live a very practical, live the message that you preach. I am everywhere, campaigning for young people's inclusion, women's inclusion in politics and in governance. And I take my message fearlessly everywhere. And the only thing that is stopping me from taking it into buses is because I have my car. If I was using the public transport system, I would be preaching it the way we used to evangelize with pamphlets. That's the way we need to talk about this. It's your life and mine. Now, that's one thing. Secondly, I honestly believe that you will not get all the numbers immediately. It's about a critical mass. And that's why politics is about numbers. Your goal is not to persuade everybody. Truth does not persuade. If not, everybody would have given their lives to Jesus Christ. It's repetition. What do people hear constantly? Constantly, repetitiously. How do you make sure that your message is constantly in the air? And how do you show them results from that message? I think that as more people step into the space, and I start seeing people like me and you, why a lot of people kept away from the space was because it was the preserve of, bag carriers and those who worked in corridors of power. You couldn't go in there and see professors like yours, People in the academia would not go into Osun State politics and see fellow academics, But increasingly, if one person just bites and steps in, he influences others like him. Because then, you look like me, and if you're there, then maybe there's a space for me there as well. So I noticed that when I go and talk, a lot of my friends, young women, are like, okay, Adam, what's your party? Okay, I may not join your party, which is fine. You don't have to join my party. For God's sake, I just need you to be civically engaged. So I think the onus on you is to, one, keep living your message. Don't just talk about it. Let them see you going for meetings. Tell them the gains in going for meetings. Hold the leaders accountable. Let them see you on TV. During press conferences, when my party holds press conference, I always grab the mic because for me, it's a symbol. I'm trying to show young people who are viewing that a young woman, a youth, can be speaking about these issues. What is stopping you? So get visibility. You must get into people's spaces. You must let them see you because there's nothing more powerful than sight and the mind. Once the mind can see images and see what's possible, then it accepts. The second question is, how do we get the youth to understand that political participation is a process that must be followed? Thank you very much for that, sir. When we look at, other democracies, more advanced democracies all over the world, one of the things that we find as a critical component, and in fact the baseline, is civic education, which is something that because of our military past and experience, it's missing. So you find that there's a whole, dark past, sort of blotting out, because the role of the military is not to empower you with knowledge that will make you confront them. So there was a total blackout of civic education that other children receive. The average child in kindergarten and other, preschool is already being indoctrinated into the founding ideologies of the United States. And all over, even in the United Kingdom, they are being trained into the legacies of their founding fathers, from the Abraham Lincolns to, the people who wrote their freedom charters. We don't do those things. We don't do those things. You don't just have a citizen wake up and suddenly be disposed towards participation. You do the things. Nigeria is a country that perennially wants results but doesn't put in the investment and the input to get those outcomes. I don't know why we act this way. If you want a certain outcome, human beings, for me, it's a function of programming. We're all socialized to act a certain way. It's how you are socialized. They use the classroom is a tool for socializing people. The media is a tool for socializing people. Institutions, religious organizations, they are tools for socialization. What agencies of socialization are we using to spread the message of participation? you find that it's missing. One of the things I do is I go into secondary schools and I set up democracy clubs. I use that to give young people positive civic experiences that takes them through the rudiments. And we need more people in civil society, more philanthropists, more organizations, even churches to take this responsibility. We need to go into the next generation and program the mind. You need to teach them about participatory budgeting. When the Oyo State House of Assembly is deliberating on the budget, let young people understand the process of budgeting. When they are going to take up leadership positions, in a democracy, you must consult. There must be meaningful and routine engagement with people that you represent. I cannot know that, and I will not do that if I have not practiced it growing up. You have to put them in scenarios where they practice leadership, where they consult with people that they're going to represent, where they get the feedback of people that they represent in positions of power. Have student delegates, because even in our universities, we find that student unions are very autocratic and dictatorial, because that's the only legacy that they've ever seen. Government is dictate, impose, rule, but democracy is represent. Speak for me. How can you speak for me when you don't hear my thoughts, when you're not engaging me? So there must be a breakaway, a total departure from the traditions and cultures that we've practiced in respect to governance. And it will only happen if we go back and change, even down to curriculum. That's essential. Third, why do people spread bad news? I mean, I feel your frustration, but this is human nature. It is what it is. I think that organizations have to be equally strategic. So, for instance, if you had a video that failed to go viral, what measures did you put in place? You have organizations in the US, they employ an army of young people just to sit on social media desks. They create dummy Twitter accounts just to push. It's propaganda. We are in a war of propaganda. Just don't get it twisted, though. People will not just buy your message because it's moral, it's nice. No, you've got to be strategic. If the church wants to get a message to the largest number of citizens in this country, employ the tools at your disposal. Now they are no longer just traditional means of reaching the mind. You see, because the media is a window to the mind of men. It shapes the way people think. Use the social media. Employ young people. This Wocom Youth Wing, you don't know your power. By the time you are repeatedly tweeting every day, showing pictures of young people with PVC, showing them in this ward meeting, in that ward meeting, I tell you, you will galvanize a momentum that has never before been witnessed. So you must be equally strategic. If human nature tends towards spreading bad news, what can you do to twist or tweak human? And it's not manipulative, because the goal, always keep your sights on the goal. The goal is to enhance the collective. Once your goal is governed by the interest of the people and the collective, then you're okay. Finally, how do we really conquer this political class? Mr. Ogo's question. For me, politics is about the numbers. It's simply down to the numbers. I need the data. I need the numbers. If you're sitting in this room and I want to be your leader, I must persuade, I have to study the rules by which you pick your leaders. That's the first. That's why I say understand the governing structures. Anywhere you go, there is a governing structure. These people are very well schooled in the art of this business. And you see, organizing is a science. In Nigeria, we don't know how to organize. Largely because even when we gained our independence, independence was, you see, there was a global tide, a wave that was spreading. After the Second World War, a lot of nations under colonization were sweeping, were reacting. And so we rode on that wave. The Nahoros and the Wallos, we didn't really organize. Look at South Africa. When they wanted to fight apartheid, South Africa is a model of organizing. Young people have the numbers, but we are not organized. We are not mobilized. Look, power will not just be given to you. You take power. You demand power, and it's about your numbers. The minute you can command within your ranks 5 million youths, and you are speaking for them, what that guarantees is 5 million youths have PVCs. 5 million youths will get to the poly unit. 5 million youths will displace you. They will sit you down and negotiate with you. When APC, as we know it, was a coalition between several political parties, CPC, ACN, and then I think it was AMPP. They coalesced. It's numbers. What Buhari lacked in organization, but he had in frenzied fanatical support, Tinubu provided in terms of organization. He had the word structures, he had the funding, and he brought that together. It is about numbers. Until we begin to organize our numbers, the numbers are useless. That's the only way you can topple these people low. They are there to stay. Nobody will just walk away because I'm old. Who says so? They will rather croak and die in office. Until you governize yourselves into numbers, then you will topple them. So we're not here talking business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This last question is for Mr. Sheye. Mr. Sheye, this question is for you. Concerning the mental disorder, can we say that there is a chemical substance that causes brain malfunction in studies, or can we say it's hereditary?
Both, actually.
Both. There are various causes for mental illnesses and issues, but like scientists say, they've done a lot of research regarding family history and history, because people that have history of mental illness are more predisposed, but the spiritual world will say, sins of the father or family line or all those things. But it's been scientifically proven to, based on research, that there's a higher risk factor if someone in your family or a member of your family have experienced any kind of mental illness or disorder. If you notice, people that their parents have gone through some sort of depression or severe clinical depression, they themselves as well would have they will experience it at some point in their life. I'm using depression because depression is one of the most strongly linked. But if you have any history of mental illness, whatever kind, and whatever severity, you are advised to be very careful with yourself, with your mind. Treat your mind. Your mind is everything. Your mind is very important. And I will not even advise you to try to start using any form of substance, either for leisure or for whatever. Because according to psychology, it's not spiritual or biblical, but we don't classify a substance use as a problem until it causes clinically significant distress. What is clinically significant distress? It affects your life, your school, your thinking. It has a significant effect on yourself. So if you are taking any substance and it doesn't cause any form of clinically significant distress, we cannot diagnose you or put you under any form of intervention or treatment. So basically, you have to be careful, because most of these substances, especially when you have history of it in your family line or something, there's a high probability that you're going to have it as well.
All right, thank you very much to all our distinguished speakers, but we will take the rest of the questions after Eda Theatre. So please welcome Eda Theatre.
Master, tell us, when will these things be? What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?
Take heed that no man deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will deceive many. You will hear of war and rumors of war. But say to it, your heart is not troubled, for all, but he who endures till the end shall be saved. This gospel of the must be preached in all the earth as a witness to all nations. Then the end will come.